Voting isn't just going to the polls on election day anymore. Options like early voting, mail-in voting, and ballot drop boxes are available to more voters and are growing in popularity.
How to Vote, a tool created by Democracy Works, breaks down the options your state offers for casting a ballot, empowering you to decide when and where to vote.
Democracy works best when we all vote, but misinformation and confusion about election procedures have resulted in low voter turnout. How to Vote, a tool created by Democracy Works, takes the guesswork out of the voting process.
It's easy to use and it helps folks from all over the country overcome many of the process barriers to voting.
Democracy Works is committed to helping you vote no matter what. Their tool, How to Vote, does just that.
You can use the tool to sign up for election reminders.
See what's on your ballot.
Get step-by-step assistance requesting your mail ballot.
Explore your options for returning your voted mail ballot.
Check your voter registration status.
Find your polling site.
And make sure that you have the appropriate ID.
Decide when and where you'll vote this year at howto.vote.
Hi, I'm Parker, and I use they, them pronouns.
Hi there, I'm Mike, and I use he, him pronouns.
And welcome to
the
Graphic Novel Podcast.
It's not the first time that I forgot which one we do.
It's written right in front of you.
I can't read.
We wrote a script for a reason.
I can't read. Welcome to Graphic Novel Podcast, a show where we discuss graphic novels, zines, and other comics, and we throw in a bit of real life.
Sometimes we talk about queer stuff. Sometimes we talk about race issues. Sometimes we talk about death or relationships.
Every Friday, we have a brand new episode. If you like the show, please go on Apple Podcasts and give us 5 stars, a review if you'd like, or on Spotify, YouTube, any place that you find our show, please give us a review. We'd really appreciate it.
Make sure that you subscribe so that every week when our podcast goes live on Fridays, it's going to be sitting there waiting for you to listen.
That's right. And you can interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, or Insta. If you visit us at anchor.fm/graphic novel podcast, you can leave us a voice message. Just like you're leaving a voice message for somebody. This is.
If you're 100.
This is a new dawning of time with this pandemic. Maybe people actually want to talk to each other.
I don't think so.
No, you think so?
I think it's even less so.
You think so?
But you can also leave us a review, and we might read that on the air too.
That's true.
But most importantly, if you want to help us grow our podcast, which we would greatly appreciate, share with your friends. Talk about it.
Yeah, definitely talk about it. Talk about us.
If
you don't like us, you can talk about us too.
Yeah,
like we had. Like, you know what? I am going to read this from last week.
Oh my God! Have I read this? How do I know about this?
Yes, you know about this. This was when we did a review last week, which is a great book. What book did we do last week?
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
Elements Earth.
Yes.
Elements Earth. Yeah, that was a great book. And
I can't believe you don't remember.
No, well, everything runs together.
I know.
But
it's like the days. They just.
So we had Tanika Stas, who was the editor of that and the author of several stories.
Yeah.
Replied and said, "Here's a little publishing info for you. It's a Pantone book, and yes, it costs the same as a full color book because it's no longer grayscale, no matter how much color we use or we do or don't use." Thank you for enjoying. We enjoyed the podcast.
Awesome. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you listening, and we love the book. So
yes, as a creator of written words, I understand what it's like to...
A creator of written words, huh?
As an author. It's.
I mean, it was a nice way to say it.
I understand what it's
fancier.
like, listening to somebody discuss your work,
yeah.
Or even reading it. There's been times when I've actually gone back and forth with people on the internet because they're full of shit about what I've written, and they don't know anything. They don't know the research that I've gone into, and maybe everything's not 100% correct, but that doesn't mean I didn't try to get it correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it's The people on the internet can be really cruel,
It's
and I
easy.
think that they forget that there's somebody on the other end of it.
I don't. We could have said that.
I mean,
5,
we've
10
said
years
this
ago,
before
maybe.
too.
But,
Like, no, they forget that there's other people on the other side of the computer.
yeah, but think about in this age of
I mean, I'm not
Trumpism.
excusing it because I
No,
don't think it's
yeah,
okay to
exactly.
say some of the shit people say.
Yeah.
But also, like, sometimes people are just critical of your work, and I don't necessarily think that they're not wrong, but I don't know. It wouldn't feel good to have.
No.
We aren't critical of the stuff that we read. I feel like.
No, we did a beer podcast, and there were times when there was some beers that weren't very good, and
we would find something nice to say about them.
we tried to find something nice about the people, because a lot of times we met a lot of these people, and we got beers directly from them.
And sometimes when like people are brewing small beers, like we know as well as anybody else that's brewed beer, like sometimes you have to throw shit out because it just tastes bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you a bad brewer. Something happened. Temperatures dropped. Temperatures were too high. I mean, there's so much, like, I can't hold it against them for having one batch of bad beer.
Yes, we went to this small brewery. They gave us a bunch of bottles. We did an interview with them. They gave us a bunch of bottles to take back. And the first one we reviewed was horrible. We don't know what was wrong with it.
But we had a suspicion that it was like, 90 degrees. It was in our car for a long time. I mean, like a long time, because we were on vacation. We didn't immediately come home and put it in a fridge or in a dark, temperature controlled area. It was up and down and up. So it's like, and we couldn't really say that wasn't the reason the beer didn't taste good.
There was another one we tried. It was, I remember it was on July 4th because we had friends over, and I tried that, and that one wasn't great. But then we tried another one that sat in the back of the fridge for months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's pull this out and let's try it. And I'm like, I think we did it on the show too. And I'm like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So maybe the other one's just we got
that's right
bad beer, or like you said, it was the temperature or something
changing. Yeah.
Yeah, but the one was good. So obviously they knew how to brew beer, and they brewed good beer.
Yeah.
So sometimes stuff happens.
Sometimes things happen.
Yeah. Sometimes, it's doing history. Maybe you get something wrong.
Well,
maybe
and I mean, a lot of your
100%.
History was
it's 100 years old stuff.
You got research from newspapers, and I mean, it's not always going to be 100% correct.
Yes,
there's some bias, or like you can only do so much unless you were there. Which, if you're studying history, you weren't there.
Yeah.
So the people who are arguing that your history wasn't correct too are also going by oral history, which we also know isn't correct.
Yep.
So you can't really argue that your shit's incorrect.
The point of this story was,
I don't even fucking
the point
remember.
of this story was, thank you for listening. When you're a creator and we review your stuff, we really appreciate it, because if we don't like it, we're not going to review it.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line. We wouldn't review it. Just
but
because
it doesn't matter. It's going to be hard to it's hard as a creator to listen to somebody talk about your work.
I agree.
And especially, like, I wonder how much she was like cringing listening to us, like, not really know. Like, I didn't know anything about the coloring, and we talk about cost of stuff because that's a lot of times what's in our mind as especially you as a creator, you have to think about all those little details. So, like, I personally like she put her art, her all of their art really ahead of costs, because she could have done full color. All of her creators could have done full color stuff, and and it would have cost the same, but they wanted that tie together to fit through the entire book, to fit with the earth element. Cool. And so that's awesome, and that's you make a call, and sometimes I'm sure somebody read it and didn't like that, but I mean, that was something I really loved, because it really did tie all the stories together.
Yeah, it was really good.
Which is, I'm guessing, was the point. But anyway,
but
all this to say, if
you.
You're a creator and you're listening, we appreciate you.
Yeah, because we know that sometimes people don't listen. We've had
and I get that too. I get it too. It's hard. Yeah,
it is. It's hard to read. I for the most part, I've stopped. I used to read my reviews all the time. Now I'll go on maybe once a year on Amazon and see if there's anything new. but not too often.
Oh man, it ruins your day if you get a bad review.
It does.
Because sometimes it's not even just like, sometimes it's just mean people. Like the book wasn't big enough or something. And
Well,
like
I see
they
that
give you
with
1 star.
I see
for it,
that
and
with
it's like,
people. Exactly, we've talked about that. People online.
what would you like me to do? Just throw blank pages in there?
Well,
Like,
no, the
or do you understand that publishers say that it needs to be this like
exactly.
like
It's
people
gotta
that
be a
complained
certain number.
about your
divisible
beer
by
book?
8, I think.
Oh, really?
Yes, because that's the way the pages are.
But people complain about your beer book not having like all these details about these new breweries, and it's like there are breweries opening and closing every day, and I had a deadline of this date. Like, there's no way that I could interview every single person and get every little detail of every new brewery opening. Like,
and the one brewery was pissed. The one brewery was pissed because their information changed from the time I got it to the time I went to press.
Yeah, it wasn't that your information was wrong. It was that it changed
yes.
between the time that it went out and the time the book was published.
Yes, and it wasn't my fault.
No, but they didn't like you.
That's okay. There's
so that's okay. We didn't spend any fucking money at your brewery either, motherfuckers.
They're not the only one. There's some other ones too. But yeah, anyhow, so yes, we've got a great 2 books that we're going to.
We're really kind people, clearly.
One book we're going to do a full review. Another one's a short comic that was online too. We're going to talk about in just a few minutes. But yes, thank you very much for listening to the Graphic Novel Podcast. We appreciate that.
We never talked about what was our day going on.
Huh?
We usually say what's going on. What's a
lot of things are going on. What did we do? We went to Mount Rainier.
We went to Mount Rainier because it was my birthday.
That's right. Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's birthday weekend. I've decided. I mean, I didn't decide, but Mike did. Apparently, every year, like, okay, I spent
recent years.
I spent a long portion of my life with your mother was embarrassed of my age, and so I pretended my birthday didn't exist, and I didn't feel comfortable celebrating my birthday
because Parker's a lot younger than me.
I'm a lot younger, but also like, your mother lied to her family members and said that I wouldn't tell her how old I was. And so I was like, oh shit, like all my stuff, all my Facebook, I don't know if there's MySpace at the time, but it was all public. So I immediately, as soon as your mother told me that, she like laughed about how she was, I told you wouldn't tell me how old you were because I mean, what's it their business anyway? And I was like, oh shit, like all that information is public right now. Like I need to go hide it. So I went on Facebook and I hid my age. I would only have my birthday on there, not my birth year. Like she told her sister, who we saw on a regular basis, and then we'd go and have a birthday party because your nephew, of course, had the same birthday as me. So I'm sitting here like I'm not celebrating my birthday. Like I'm going to pretend.
Who, Billy?
No, Zach.
Oh, it's the same birthday as you?
Yes, August 9th.
God, I don't remember.
Oops, shit. I just said my birthday.
I don't remember that.
I can't believe. Of course you don't remember it. It was the worst. I hated my birthday for so many years because of it. Because Zach was a kid and would have, your family would have a birthday party for him.
A kid, yes.
Because he was a kid. He wasn't born the same year as me, obviously, just the same date. And I mean, not that obviously. He was only a few years younger, I guess. But he was several years younger. Anyway, but not the point. So we go for this birthday party, and like in my head, like I'm going to celebrate Zach's birthday. Like in my head, I was like, I'm so glad that this kid shares the birthday the same day as me, so that we don't have to acknowledge my birthday because we're here celebrating Zach. And then they would have your aunt and her entire family, who your mother has lied to and told them all that I won't tell them how old I am, but then expect them, they would go and write my name on the birthday cake and have cards and stuff for me, but I'm still apparently lying about how old I am to them and not giving them that information. And it felt so shitty to be having them celebrate me and buy me cards when I was supposedly lying to them. It felt so bad. I hate it for so many years.
Yeah, I don't have any excuse for that.
No, you don't need to make an excuse for it. It's just I try to explain to you because now every year I'm like, it's my birthday. We get to do what I want. It's my birthday. And I feel like a small child, but it's like I think part of it is because for so many years I tried so hard to avoid it.
Yep. And we spend the weekend. It's your weekend. We do whatever you want.
But you like to say it to the kids like, it's Ren's birthday. We're doing whatever they want. And I'm like, well, I don't want my kids to grow up thinking that
it's my
get to do that
weekend. I
because
can do what I want.
they get a whole weekend.
Do you remember Ren and Dad? I can do whatever I want.
You set the precedent there.
But we were gonna go. Nope, it's my weekend. I'm gonna sit here and chill
on my Nintendo.
Anyhow,
on my Switch.
Anyhow, let's move on.
Okay, sorry.
No, we're good.
But it's my birthday.
All right. Graphic novel has scooped the UK's oldest prize for crime fiction. This isn't a brand new story. It came out last month. Flake by Matthew Dooley is the first novel in comic strip format to win the Bollinger Everyman Wodehouse Prize for Comic Fiction in its 20-year history.
Wait, Wodehouse?
Yeah, Wodehouse.
W?
W-O-D-E.
Huh.
A story of ice cream wars and sibling rivalry. It is described by judges as a rare joy. The winner is given a Jeroboam of Bollinger. I have no idea what this is.
That's a tongue twister right there.
And in more usual times, a pig named after the winning book at the Hay Festival. So this is definitely a funky award.
It is funky.
Dooley, 35, said Flake was published on 2nd April amidst a huge, bewildering global crisis. It's been a very strange experience. Winning the Bollinger Everyman Wodehouse Prize means it's just got stranger in the best possible way. Matthew Dooley's, I'm surprised, overwhelmed, and elated to have won. Now, how on earth do you chill a bottle of champagne that big? Judge David Campbell, publisher of Everyman's Library, said, none of us, I think, expect a graphic novel to win, but we were all captivated by Flake. So, I don't see anything else that we know there. But, yeah, congratulations. That's pretty cool. Another one. Oh, here's the article. Okay, this is from Deadline. Netflix has commissioned BAFTA-nominated UK company Blink Industries to adapt Hamish Steele's Dead India, a young adult graphic novels into a 2D animated series. Dead India follows the adventures of Barney, Norma, and magical talking dog Pugsley as they battle supernatural forces during their summer jobs at a haunted house theme park. Netflix will premiere Dead India in 2021 and said Steele's novels have been lauded for capturing the growing pains of young adulthood. Barney is transgender, while Norma is neurodiverse. So it's pretty cool. And these are young adult novels, too.
Mm.
Young adult graphic novels. So
very cool.
Maybe something else to look forward for the child to read.
For the child.
Steele said, Dead India is about terrifying demons, vengeful ghosts, and mysterious magic. It is also about coming of age in a world that wasn't made for you. It's a drama about found family, identity, and making mistakes. I've always dreamed of making the show I needed as a lonely, horror-obsessed, closeted gay kid, and thanks to Netflix and our ridiculously talented, diverse, and representative writers' room and crew, we have shot way past my dreams and into the wildest fantasy territory.
Oh, man, that's so cool.
Yeah, no kidding. That sounds awesome. Yeah, diverse storyline and everything, and it sounds pretty cool. All right, do you want to talk about this story we read? Do you have it pulled up?
Yep. I mean, I don't have it pulled up right this second because
okay, so it's on ABC, which I believe is the Australian Broadcasting Company.
Isn't it the? Never mind. Go ahead.
I
was going to try and make a joke, and I just failed.
Okay. So it's on abc.net.au. And Mara Ellis was in prison for more than 4 months. She was placed in isolation away from the rest of the prison population. Sometimes she was locked up for 23 hours a day. Why?
Terrible.
Because she's transgender. This is her story. And the story is... a comic. You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of, you haven't read it yet, but Upgrade Soul.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say that.
It has
it's kind of animated.
Yes.
Movement stuff. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
As you scroll through this story, basically, it changes. Like the pictures change, and
is this all that there is? Is there more to it? Did you look it up at all?
I looked. It doesn't.
I'd love to read more about her story.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying. It's I mean, it talks a lot about the trans experience, and I feel like a lot of people, I mean, most trans people who come out to unsupportive families can probably relate in the way that the way her life started out. That looks like it led to drug addiction and anger management issues.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people can, without I mean, it's interesting because I think in the United States we assume that other countries, I mean, certainly not all countries, but a lot of countries are doing better than us when it comes to prison, when it comes to transgender rights.
Exactly.
But Australia, it sounds like in some places, you were reading something to me. It said in some places, the prison that you go to, like, okay, let me be clear. Like, I don't fucking care what you did. Like this, I don't care that whether they should be in prison or not. Like prisoners, criminals, they're still human and should be treated as such, and they're not.
Right. What she did probably, I mean, she punched cops and she got involved in some felony assaults, it sounds like. So they had some anger management issues.
She did, yeah. But
which probably was.
But that's beside the point.
That's
like
beside the point.
Once she should not have been in a prison with a bunch of men.
It was, yes.
And
at the beginning here, she says, on entry, they strip search me. 2 male officers inspect my bottom half, but 2 female officers inspect my top half.
Because she hasn't had bottom surgery yet, or doesn't plan on getting it, whatever, doesn't matter.
Right.
You can be trans and have no surgeries. Like the amount of surgeries, your access to surgery does not equate how valid you are as a trans person. And like it doesn't like it makes no sense to me that they completely I don't know. She drew it really well.
Yeah, I don't know who drew this.
Oh,
I don't believe she's the artist.
I thought it said she was the artist.
I don't think so.
Maybe she was just telling
I think
the story.
She's just telling the story. Yeah, I have to look it up.
Excuse me. Well, then if she's not the one telling the story,
she's telling the story. Not
drawing the story. Then the artist did a spectacular job of getting those feelings in there, because even like at one point it shows the clouds closing in on her.
Yes.
Oh, it says right underneath here.
At the bottom.
Yeah, it shows. It talks about in some places in Australia, you go to the prison that you choose, essentially. So if you're trans, not that you can choose your gender, but if you're trans, they'll allow you to. If you're a trans woman, they'll send you to a women's prison.
Let me get that information out. The illustrator is Samuel Luke. The reporter is Magna Bali. Producer Gina McKeon, and designer Alex Palmer.
So it's
a news story.
She told the story.
This is a news story that
but they get it. I mean, they get the
together.
Feelings, the emotions.
Yep.
They get it.
It's an artist who really understands.
Right. Yep. Right. Which I think is really cool. But I think that's something that we need to work on in the United States for sure. I mean, we know with oh my God, how is her name escaping me right now? The woman who was Chelsea Manning. Chelsea Manning. I knew her first name. I couldn't think of her last name.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, that's okay. No. Chelsea Manning was dealing with all kinds of things, because I mean, first of all, I don't feel deserved to be in prison to begin with, but having to deal with transitioning and everything while in prison, just I don't know. Anyway,
well, weren't they only released because of COVID?
She?
No,
she was released. I think Obama pardoned her.
Oh yeah. At the end, no, was it? I don't remember.
See, now I don't remember. Now you're making me question what I think.
No, I know she was released, but I don't remember when. No.
It wasn't due to COVID.
So,
but we'd see every Pride. It made me so sad. There was always a group that
Free Chelsea.
Yeah. And it was like, how many years do we have to keep doing? Like, how many phone calls do you have to make for to change?
Yeah, but this story is really good. The way The art is done. She talks about growing up in a small town, and I felt like I was definitely a girl. It was scary. You're a bit wary of how the world might react when I came out to my dad and stepmom. I felt really lonely and isolated. They could have helped me move forward, but instead urged me to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting on heroin.
And I mean, I can,
to cope with life and everything. They got, they got into a relationship that got violent, and they just had a lot of feelings in there that probably because of the way they had to hide everything to begin with, it was just all building up over time. In isolation for 23 hours a day.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
January 17th, 2017, Obama commuted all but 4 months of Manning's remaining sentence.
Okay, so she got out at the end of his... Oh, in January 2017.
Obama stated that Manning's original 35-year prison sentence was very disproportionate relative to what other leakers have received.
Yeah.
And it made sense to commute, but not pardon her sentence. So she was not pardoned.
Right. Unlike Trump, who just fucking pardons anybody who kisses his ass long enough. So here, a couple more things here. Being a trans woman in a men's prison, you don't get to just do prison. You have to be constantly experienced by other people.
Mm-hmm.
She's 2 guys come into her cell and say they want BJs, and she's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And finally she's like, all right, fine, if this will get you out of my cell, I'll do it. And then they're like, all right, fine. And then they just left. It's like they wanted to mean her enough.
Yeah.
They didn't really want it from her. They just wanted to make her beg or whatever they wanted to do.
Right.
So yeah. So this is if you can find this story, it's really good. Okay, found one other thing here scrolling through this. Samuel Luke, the illustrator, creates graphic narratives and intimate comics exploring his experiences of being transgender.
See, so he gets it. He gets it.
Exactly.
I told you. God, I'm so smart.
That's why it is. They, even if they've never experienced this, never been to prison, he. I say they so often.
I know. I'm like, I've drilled it into your skull.
He gets it. He understands those feelings deep inside.
Yeah, I assumed that she had drawn it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it sounds like she just told a reporter her story, and I'm glad that they found a trans author to do the drawing, because it's so clear that he illustrator.
Yeah, exactly.
What did I say?
Author.
Okay, yeah. I thought I said artist. I'm glad they found
I think you did say.
I might have said author. I don't fucking know what comes out of my mouth sometimes.
But yeah, that.
It was clear that he had experienced.
It was
something.
Good.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real long story, but it was still powerful.
No, it almost felt like an article. I mean, it was.
I think that's what it was. But for whatever reason, they decided to make it a graphic.
I mean, it's like a
article.
short. It could easily fit into any kind of anthologies about trans stories. Trans life. It could easily slide right in there with works like that.
Definitely. What else we got going on?
Other things.
Music.
I'm on my university website here.
Music.
There
we go. Always something.
It's better than dead air, right?
All right. This week, doing a very cool book. It's by Sommer, called The Unknown.
Sommer, maybe?
Sommer, yeah, possibly Sommer.
I don't know.
It's called The Unknown. Why don't you tell us? And it's translated by Helga Helge.
Drawn with guileful clarity and bite, The Unknown is a story of deceit, self-deception, and the search for happiness. One day, Helen finds a newborn abandoned in a changing room in her boutique. She decides to keep it, nested in a cardboard box and hidden even from her husband. Vicky and Wanda are boarding school roommates. Wanda talks Vicky into turning tricks. Meanwhile, Vicky can't keep her secrets from Wanda. Not her affair with their history teacher, and not the pregnancy she tries to sabotage and yet stubbornly carries out. As the two narratives converge, coincidences and secrets are revealed. Incisive, wicked, and breezily unconcerned by taboos, Sommer lets readers put together the pieces of her morally ambiguous fable.
All right. fucking great story.
Fuck, it was good.
This is from Conundrum Press. Thank you very much for the review copy.
Yes, thank you.
Conundrum is out of Canada, and this story is so good. Let's do a little bit of background on Anna Sommer. She was born in May 1968 in Staffelbach, a village near Aarau in German-speaking Switzerland. Her mother taught drawing, her father was a furrier, and their tools, pen and knife, would trace her path. She started out as a printmaker, partly by accident because the building she lived in also happened to house a press. But she liked the technique, but she was disappointed by the look of her newspaper illustrations. She said they were too gray, too nebulous. In 1990, she moved to French-speaking Switzerland, published her first drawing, a dry point engraving, in Good Boy, a free monthly fanzine. Produced by Frederick Pajak. So she would go on to do all kinds of stuff, and she was a catalyst to a trio of graphic art reformers: Pajak, Mix and Remix, and Noyau, known as I'm not even going to try to say what it is, but they were underground artists. And she was the Trinity's fourth star, and she shone with a distinctive light. She now shares her life with Noyau, and basically, she tried different types of art and ended up getting into this. She's released several books, and this story, like one of the reviews I read, there are no panels. It's one picture next to the other, and you follow an order like you would, reading panels, left to right, down.
Yeah, it was
left
not
to right, down, left to right.
Did you find that difficult to follow at all?
Oh no, not at all.
Sometimes it was hard for me when I think just because the way my brain functions, I had to really focus on it's not like difficult, but sometimes I had to just, like I said, I think my brain just functions differently than the majority of people. I had to really like almost blank out part of the page just so that I could find
okay.
I was really surprised at sometimes.
Yeah,
I was surprised at how, like, sometimes when there was a lot of background drawings.
Yeah.
This page, for instance, at the mall, it was hard for me to follow what the story was. So I had to find what, I focused on the baby. I just focused on the baby the whole time to try and find what the story, what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't really difficult to follow, but it was just the way my brain works.
Okay.
It was different.
Okay.
I couldn't decide if I liked it, if it was something I liked more than, because it makes it feel more what is the word I'm looking for? It makes the page feel like one big picture, as opposed to broken up into these small boxes.
Yep, I understand.
So that I kind of enjoyed. But then the part of my brain that likes the boxes was trying to make my own boxes, which I mean is possible to do. It's not too, I don't know.
Here's a little bit about Helga Dasher,
who was the translator.
She translated her first comic in 1995, and she has since translated some 60 more by artists who have broadened the medium's range. And they have a question for her. How do comics translation differ from other kinds of translation? She said what distinguishes comics translation is how it connects with the graphic language of the comic book. The text is part of the artwork, so the visual impact of words can matter.
Yeah.
It appears in caption boxes and word balloons that impose spatial constraints on the translator. And most important, the translated text isn't independent. It interacts with the images, usually within the space of a panel. And whatever the original text is doing, making the reader laugh, empathize, read on, has to happen in the same spot in the translation. So that's interesting, especially like if maybe, let's say in French, it was just a short little thing. So the word balloon is small, but then in English, it's like a sentence long.
Right.
And you have to fit that. So you have to probably figure out how to reword that so it means the same thing.
Right. I mean, you see, like, anytime you use like Google Translator, Translator or whatever, like sometimes it's because of the way other languages are formatted, it looks a lot different than what a direct computer translation
Right.
looks like.
Right.
So yeah, that's really interesting to read. And did you find anything in here that like seemed off? I didn't think
notice.
so. I would.
No, I didn't
I mean,
notice anything. It sounded.
I kind of
great.
feel like you wouldn't know that it was
Mm-mm.
translated,
Would have
and
never.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
So the story, her artwork is very simple. It is black and white lines. There's no grayscale. There's no shading. No, nothing. She's just doing a simple picture to get the story out, and it works.
But
great.
I don't think simple means.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not plain.
No,
it's
there's
just
uninhibited
details
in there.
Yes,
but yes, it's not busy. It's not busy,
right? Unlike not in a bad way, but unlike Paying the Land, where Joe Sacco goes into great detail to make sure that everything has some type of texture and background and they're completely different.
But I feel like they're completely different books. I feel like if this book had that, it would be really hard to follow.
It would be. It would be different.
It was great. I remember.
This is about the story. This is about the story with pictures, and it's great. The story is exactly what you said at the beginning. It's you read about this woman who finds a baby in the changing room.
Can I tell you?
Mm-hmm.
I used to dream about this.
Oh my
god! I used from the time I was too young to be thinking about being a parent.
Finding a baby,
and just keeping it. I just keep the baby because I found it. So, finders keepers. No, I dreamed about finding somebody just left a baby here and
that's what happened here.
I'll just keep the baby. Yeah. It's mine now. Like,
and then
they're mine.
She hides it from her husband. And I mean, there's obviously some parts of the story where you just have to,
oh, I know the part of me that is
like she leaves the baby overnight.
So long. She leaves it for so long.
I knew you were getting.
Oh my god, that poor baby! You can't leave a baby that long.
But she doesn't want her husband to know at all.
So she starts going for runs.
Yes, and so she can go and check on the baby. Luckily, her shop is close enough that she doesn't have to go too far. But
it was like.
But then you've got these two girls who
I know the parent part of me was like,
yes,
that baby needs to eat every 2 hours.
at the same time, you've got well, then they get a puppy, right?
Yes.
She gets a puppy.
Yes.
Where does the puppy come from?
Okay, so I think
the husband brings it home, doesn't he?
Yes, and I think that's like a pretty common. I mean, I don't want to say common, but
she tells him
she couldn't get pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, well, we can't have a baby, so let's have a dog.
Let's have a
baby,
baby puppy here.
Yeah,
in 1 year,
and it's entirely up to her to care for it. Like, I'm gonna surprise you with a dog. Who knows if you're gonna get along with this dog or like this dog or anything? But I'm just gonna throw a dog at you and hope the problem goes away. Like. This woman was buying baby clothes without having a baby. Like she clearly wanted a baby.
She had a whole bunch of stuff already.
And they don't go into the details of what happened. Right. Was she miscarrying? Was she like, it didn't go into any of that. Right. Yeah. So it was just like, I can't even it was just.
But so she's caring for this baby. She eventually tells her husband, who's like, you can't keep this baby.
Yeah. What? Okay,
why don't
we
you?
Don't have to go
needs to go to the police, and that's why he ends up giving her the dog, and she gives up the baby in essence.
No, she had the dog first. She already had the dog.
Wait.
He brought home a dog because she was like, I don't remember if he would like notice her behavior change or something.
That's right. So she, yes,
because she was taking the dog to meet the baby.
Yes. So that's right. So the dog and the baby.
So then the dog was the excuse for going out all the time. Well, the dog's gotta,
and the dog and the baby became really good friends.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing that we talked about just a little while ago was neither one of us realized it was boarding school. We both thought it was like college or university.
Yeah, we both thought it was university. I mean, that comes from where, you assume your life is just like everybody else's. Right? Yeah, so we haven't even gotten to the other character. Vicky is we meet her and she's got this roommate in boarding school, like you said, which we didn't realize at the time.
Which isn't that important, although it she talks about taboo. I mean, so I guess it was a little underage.
That it makes it so much like that makes me hate one of the other characters. The do we give away? I don't want to spoil that.
Yeah,
part, but it makes me hate that one character so much more.
Well, she's
now
having.
fine. I mean,
she's
it was
having
bad enough as it was
well,
because it's still like
Wanda
you're
is-
still crossing. Like she's okay.
all
So
kinds of stuff. Yes, Vicky is a sex worker.
Oops, she's having an affair with her history teacher.
Well, Vicky's a sex worker.
So right,
and
Vicky is no.
Am I got them backwards?
Yes, Wanda is the sex worker and convinces Vicky. Vicky
is having an affair with her history teacher.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
but when I don't know why, but part of me is like, well, in college, like everybody's got a crush on their professor. We don't know how
old
you
boarding
hear
school
about
is. Maybe they're older teenagers.
I don't think. I mean, they definitely look from the drawings. I mean,
they look
she's
like adults.
Obviously, past puberty.
Yeah, I mean, they're not 13 years old.
I mean, they're not in the picture, in the drawings. They don't appear to be 13, but
I don't think they're that young.
I don't think so either.
But she is
living. I think they're like high school.
At one point, she is living with her mother, so it's possible they're definitely underage. I'm thinking.
Well, they're definitely underage in boarding school. It's definitely underage. So. But I know, but it's never. It wouldn't be okay if it was college, right? Because there's still that power dynamic.
Right.
It wouldn't be okay. It's not okay for college professors to sleep with their students. Not ever. It is. I feel like I feel like it's shitty to even say it, but it adds like another layer of shittiness to the history teacher.
Yes.
Because he's not only sleeping with a student, but he's sleeping with an underage student.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah, and it's great. You don't expect the story to go where it goes.
Yes, it goes so like, oh my God, I just loved it. I was like, I was texting you at the time, and I was working. I think about like halfway through the book, and I texted you, and I was like, oh my God, the unknown.
Yes,
the unknown is amazing, and I don't think I like capitalize it. So all you get is the unknown is amazing, and you're like, what shit are you smoking? Like,
yes, I thought you were watching some on Netflix or something because I forgot the title of the book, and then you
because you read it a while ago, right?
And
you didn't read it recently.
No, you wrote, right. And then you wrote back in the book. I'm like, oh yeah, that book is
Anna
great.
Sommer, like, oh
it's
my
so
God,
weird,
it's
but
so
yes,
good.
The story is weird.
I just got sucked right into it, and part of it too was because of my. I mean, it was like a recurring dream that I had growing up about really finding a baby.
I don't know if you've ever told me that.
Really?
I don't remember that.
I just took the baby in. Like,
I know you've said that you've always wanted children from a young age,
from very young.
But that is that.
But I don't think since having kids, I don't think I've had the dream. So
no, I hope. I
mean,
not.
obviously, it was.
You don't need to find them in finding.
But I think like if I found a baby now, I'm like,
oh no.
I think I would want to keep it.
No,
I know.
I don't want to keep anymore. These two are plenty.
I think that I do think that one day I.
Are going to find a baby?
No, I won't find a baby. I will go the legal, correct.
You think
path.
You'll do what?
I think I'd like to foster or adopt children.
Yeah, I know you would.
Babies. I mean, not babies, because obviously, but especially like queer kids. Like, how many queer kids get kicked out of their house? And or don't have loving, supportive parents. Like, wouldn't you love to be that? To be able to give that back?
It would be. We'll talk about that another day.
I know we don't need to.
We don't need to air that.
But part of that too is because my mom my mom and uncle were adopted, and so I kind of feel like.
And your aunts.
Well, right. My grandparents adopted all 4 of their children. I don't remember what the issue was, but they adopted all 4 of their children, and so I kind of feel like, and it's kind of funny. None of them adopted.
Yeah, they all had children.
They all had their own children. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but it is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they didn't feel like. Never mind. I'm not going to.
Yeah, we don't need to go into
anyway.
There.
But yeah, so I yeah.
But yeah, I don't think you ever told me that story, and it's weird that this it's. I guess it's not weird.
I wonder if other people have had this dream
you
before.
Tried real hard to have a baby, which I'm guessing, or the husband didn't want a baby and she wanted one.
Oh my God, can you imagine the different like based on knowing the end of the book? I can imagine what the possibility, like, they don't talk about why she wasn't getting pregnant. Like, maybe something like he was, see, I don't know. That doesn't fit for the other things. Oh my God. Yeah. My head is going everywhere.
Yeah.
I want more.
No,
but you don't need more. Like, the story, this is the story.
Good.
It can end here, and I can,
yeah, the ending was great.
I do kind of want more, but
I know.
Like I really want, you know, like, you know, I don't know, throw the whole man out kind of situation.
No, I know he's a piece of shit. He really is.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah,
husband.
I'm guessing she's not the first one that he's yeah, messed around with.
I would imagine.
And
not.
doesn't the wife knows too, doesn't she?
No, I don't.
Oh,
think
she
so.
doesn't. You don't
No,
think she
I don't
knows?
think so. I don't think so.
So he's just dirty.
Yeah, he's not dirty.
Yeah, he's disgusting. He's having sex with underage people.
Did you just give it away?
Well, you said he was. We already said he was having an affair.
Okay.
And it said
you made the connection that you didn't have to make, but that's okay. I'm gonna be okay with it.
Okay.
It's not a long book. I am a fast reader. I read it. I don't even know.
I know what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. I read it relatively quickly. I don't know how quickly. A couple hours, maybe tops.
Probably. Yeah. It's
a quick read, but it's so worth it. It is such a good story.
Really good story. Enjoyed it a lot. The art is really good.
The art's great.
It's so good for the type of storytelling.
We didn't even really go into Vicky. Vicky is pregnant at boarding school, trying to hide her pregnancy. Thinks, well, if I just gonna start gaining weight, I'm just gonna start eating all kinds of stuff and gaining weight so that people won't know, that they'll just think I'm fat. Like they won't suspect.
Oh yeah,
that
didn't her
pregnant.
mother think she was lazy and everything?
Her mother's making comments all the time like you shouldn't be eating that, and like that.
She's trying to hide this pregnancy and everything, and
which I mean I don't know in real life if that's how it works. I didn't know any. I mean,
but people wear baggier clothes and stuff. That's people do that.
But you see that on TV. You see that on TV, right? Where like
but
the
don't people
teenagers trying to hide her pregnancy.
Yes,
so
but don't people who have body dysphoria and stuff, don't they hide themselves in baggy clothes and stuff?
Absolutely, they do.
So I mean, it's probably the same thing.
Well, no.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you could be right. Like she's trying to deny it herself, but she does go to lengths to try and lose.
Oh yes, the baby she does. Yes.
But so that was kind of interesting to me that she wasn't willing. Like it's France, right? It takes place in, you said French?
I believe yes.
I don't know what abortion laws are like there.
Right.
For underage kids.
Mm-hmm.
Could be that it's difficult to get an abortion, so, or you don't have the money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what access is like over
right
there, but around here you'd have to have your parents' permission to go and do that, which means you have to tell your parents that you're having sex, and then it's like, well, who are you having sex with? Well, my teacher. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like it just adds an extra layer. So what are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna try and punch my stomach and hope that I have a miscarriage.
Yep. But yeah, it's really good. We have another book from Conundrum Press that we'll get to shortly. But yeah, they got some good stuff.
Knocked it out of the park. I mean,
I'm really happy to read that.
If you have, I mean, it might be triggering if you are a victim of sexual assault.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
It does. There are some there's some blood drawing. There's some drawing of blood.
Too.
There's nudity. Drawing of blood,
puking.
Also, vomit. So there's some things on there that if you get triggered easily, it might be triggering to you. But
story wise, great,
man, so great, so great. I was so thrilled with it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, can't recommend it enough. Was extremely happy with it, and like I said, I honestly, I'm kind of wanting to look into the author a little more and see if there's anything else that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's
follow their stories at all. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if anything else has been.
I feel like I talk about that a lot. I'm like,
this is their first translated book.
Oh, okay.
So it's their first
I wouldn't be able
English edition. So yeah. But
very cool.
Good stuff. Really enjoyed that book.
And thank you again to Conundrum International, Conundrum Books, for sending us a copy to review. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. A couple weeks ago, I said something about Alison Bechtel. I said that it was the Bechtel cast. It's not her podcast.
Oh, yeah.
The names of the hosts I'm forgetting at the moment. But they use
The Bechdel
the Bechdel test
Yeah.
about movies and TV shows. So it's not actually Alison Bechdel's podcast.
Right.
She's not on there.
They're just using the Bechdel test.
But they use the Bechdel test. Which
Awesome.
It's a great test.
Yes. Well, until next week, my name is Mike.
And I'm Parker.
And this is
the
Graphic Novel Podcast.
Don't forget, Black Lives Matter.